Welcome to the Property Nomads Podcast, and today we start a new sort of series as such. Delighted to be joined by Marc Champ, of Wharf Financial, the award-winning brokerage as of a few weeks ago, winning an award in the bridging commercial sector for 2021. So Marc has a wealth of knowledge, and what we are going to start doing is every month we're going to have a look at the financial markets as such, having a look at mortgages, what's going on. Marc's going to keep us updated with things and how that can benefit yourself as an investor, myself and as an investor as well. We would strongly encourage feedback on this. Again, we're trying this. It's going to at least go on, I would say, for a year. We'll see how it goes. Your feedback is always highly appreciative at the Property Nomads Podcast or Wharf Financial. Let us know what you think of this. I'll stop waffling and introduce Marc Champ. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. No, it's a pleasure to be on, and hopefully we can add some value to the podcast and answer the questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're going to do today is have a quick look at where things stand financially speaking. Also, you are contributing to our new book, Property FAQs. There's going to be a very good section in there with, frequently asked questions that you get from a brokerage point of view. And we'll aim to tackle some of them today as well. So people have got an audio as well as written. So again, thank you in advance for contributing to that book. Should be out at some point at the start of 2022. But before we get into all that, tell us a little bit more about being an award-winning brokerage. Well, congratulations. And tell us a little bit more. How did it feel to receive that award?
Well, it was a surprise, really. We knew we'd been nominated for the award, and some of the lenders were the ones who nominated us, which was really nice to have, because it's those guys that we're representing our customers in front of those guys. So the reason you need a broker is to get your deal done at the end of the day. That's the most important thing. So to have the people who are making the decisions actually vote for you and say, you've done a good job was really nice to hear. And hopefully it means that we have represented our customers in the right way. Also, a lot of effort went into Wharf starting it up, because as the listeners may or may not know, we started March 2020, just as the pandemic hit. Lockdown was our first event, and it was a bit of a strange time for everybody, but we were able to form Wharf. And what I find is the good advisors rise to the top in the times of discomfort, and hopefully that's what we were able to do. We've put together a team of strong advisors who are very experienced and know the market inside out and have seen recessions before. They've seen different things happen, and everything's cyclical. It comes and goes. So be able to advise our customers in this time was really important to us, and hopefully we've made our customers more wealthy, even in a more difficult period in history.
Evidently so. Again, that's the reason you've got that award. So congratulations for that. And it's always good to have that expert advice, especially when we're I'm just going to use too many S's there, and going through rough seas at the moment, economically speaking. In terms of finance, then what we're going to try and do when we get to the meat and the bones, we're going to sort of have that structure of looking at where we are financially and economically from a mortgage point of view as well, and then probably do a couple of FAQs each month per se. So again, that's sort of the rough format we're going. So at the time of recording, hate to date stamp it, but this is for November. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, isn't there? Our finance has never been cheaper. There's a lot going on. There's possibly rates might increase in due course. What murmurings, what have you heard in the background?
Well, I think the rates going up is something that has been reported. we're going to see that very soon, whether that happens or not. But inflation's the key to all of this. It's up 4% sort of region, and the interest rates need to. There's a mechanism to control the inflation. So whether it happens or it doesn't happen, it's a bit of a guess, and it's one for the MPC to work out whether it's the best thing to do or not. But we also need to have a look at the investing in property and the inflation, because when you invest in property, you get a return on your money. Hopefully it's a profit, but you also have to think about inflation in there and tax and all these sorts of things. And there's some people that come to me with projects, development or refurb projects, and you see a minimal profit in there. And, this project's going to take 12 months to deliver, but you think they're going to make, I don't know, they put something like 5% on the table, but then they don't take into account they probably have to get this money out of this deal at some point and are going to incur tax. Inflation's happening all the time and it's at a high rate. So, you need to be careful when you're getting into property. You need to be doing it at the right time and picking your deals really well. So I think what it suggests at the moment is if interest rates do go up, that's going to be another pressure on borrowers and investors. So you need to really think about how you're investing, and is property the right vehicle to be investing in at this point in time? And there are going to be ways of doing it, but you need to do your homework. You need to research the areas. You need to research what the profit margin is, what contingencies you need to put in there. So I would say whether interest rates do go up or not, I think the fundamentals of making the investment still need to be adhered to. You really need to be careful and make sure you know what you're getting into and doing it correctly with the right advice along the way.
Start with the end in mind is crucial advice. It's advice that we hear quite a lot as well. And the reason for that is, well, there is a reason for that, is it's very useful, and know what your exit is, and then that will help people like yourself to help to give customers the best decisions.
And I would say you have to think long term. You need to think about where you want to get to. So, I have my plan of where I want to get to in, 10 years, 15 years time. And that's to have created the best brokerage in the UK, and me to have other investments, whether it be within property, ISAs, pensions, whatever it may be. But you need to have, like you said, the end in mind right from the start. So you need to know where you want to get to and create a path. And property can be one of those ways of doing it. And it is a very good way of doing it if you do it correctly. But it is an investment. It is one of the only leveraged investments you can make, which gives it a big bonus. You can, in essence, work with higher numbers than you would be able to normally, because you can get a multiple of your actual capital stack. So it's a real good way of doing it, but you do need to be careful and remember where you're trying to get in the long run.
Solid advice. I couldn't have said that any better myself, to be honest there, Mark. In terms of where we stand then, just trying to sort of put my head into people that listen to the podcast. You might get some people like ourselves that are predominantly bread and butter, buy-to-let. That's the core of the business, limited company. In terms of rates and lenders, what are you seeing at the moment? Are things becoming, given that the last couple of years has been a bit skew, shall we say, are you finding that things market-wise are becoming a lot easier, or are lenders starting to clamp down slightly? Are they showing fear? What vibes are you getting your end?
So rates have come down, throughout the last 2 years. Firstly, the bridging rates have come down. You can get money a lot cheaper than you could do the start of 2 years ago. And the same's happened with the specialist buy-to-let lenders, especially the fintech type of lender. So your likes of Landbay, LendInvest, those types of lenders. And rates were around, for the specialist buy-to-lets, around 3%, somewhere around there. And they're competing with each other. They're trying to get market share. And it's helping the customer. There's new products being brought out. There's been extra products in holiday lets come out recently. There's one of the lenders that's doing it's a tracker product that has no ERCs, which is great. So we're seeing a lot of interest in that. And there's the emergence of green mortgages or in the specialist space. So you can these lenders are offering incentives if there's a particular green element to the transaction. So it's something that's come out very recently, but people are bearing that in mind as well now. So just another angle as well.
Can you just go into that? Just as news to me, having green elements. Can you just give it a couple of examples if you can?
Yeah, so if you have your EPC rating, and the EPC rating is invariably how environmentally friendly a building is, and if that is at such a level, I can't remember what the letter is that you need it to be. The rate is slightly different to what your normal specialist buy-to-let would be. There's only a couple of lenders that are doing this, but it's something to bear in mind. Everybody wants to be green or at least be seen as being green, but some of the lenders have actually made it a little bit more advantageous for borrowers. And it's interesting, actually. I got a call from a wealth manager. It must have been about 12 months ago, and he had a colleague in Luxembourg who dealt in the wealth management space, and he said, have I heard or done anything with green mortgages? And I was like, well, no, we've not really done anything then. And he said, oh, well, we're doing a lot of research into it because we think soon they're going to start drip feeding in. And lo and behold, 12 months later, the specialist market has started to see them. So a little tip off I had 12 months ago there.
I'm just trying to get my head around this. So, funnily enough, I am qualified also to do energy performance certificates. I've got a bit of know-how about them. So let's just say I go around to property, do an EPC. Let's just say it comes out an E. So you got A is the very best, G is the very worst. If you're going to be renting, with a couple of exceptions, E or above, that's where you need to be. But there's always recommendations on an EPC. So it might say, I don't know, improve the glazing, or solar panels, or cavity wall insulation, or external wall insulation. So just trying to get my head around this. Are you telling me that with these green mortgages, that there might be a financial contribution or incentive if you wanted to improve your property? Have I got the right end of the stick there?
Yeah. So I'm just looking at one now, as we speak. And if you've got an EPC rating of C, so ABC, your rate would be, I'm just having a look at this core product, at 75% two-year fixed, 2.94, as opposed to, let's have a look what it would have been normally. Bear with me 1 second. It'd be slightly higher than that. I'm just looking at where it is. There you go. What did I just say? 2.94?
Yeah, along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's slightly higher. It's about 0.01 higher as a core product. So it's, it's a little saving. It's not massive, but it is a little saving, and it encourages you to do the right thing. And when you're converting a property, I know we've spoken about commercial conversions. It can be a benefit, and I think that the benefit's only going to grow as time goes on, as the government has to hit their carbon neutral targets and all that. Especially as it's in the news at the moment. You see the conference that's going on. That's all they're discussing, really, and it's only going to get more poignant. So, yeah, these lenders are bringing it in, and it is going to save you a little bit of money.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. I guess from most, I'm not speaking on behalf of sort of every single investor, because that's staff. I know that you can always when you're trying to make improvements, like for example, solid wall insulation, that is quite an expensive thing to do. So all I would say is people that are buying the older school properties, we do sometimes, a lot of our properties, in that 1900 to 1929 bracket, there's always incentives out there. There's always funding somewhere. So ideally, chat with your local council, chat with green suppliers. There's always stuff out there, basically. So it's not what you know, it's who you know, to an extent. Mark, I'm not going to sit here and ask you for sort of predictions, because the whole point is we'll have you on every month, and we'll sort of have a good chat. But is there anything else that you've seen recently in the mortgage market that you think that investors need to be made aware of?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think of something else that I've seen. I'm just having a look at the news today, because we do a weekly newsletter with all the news that happens each week, and obviously your subscribers are welcome to email me if they would like to and get a copy of that. And a lot of our customers really enjoy that. It's it just keeps them up to date with what's happening in the specialist market. So that's something that we can offer. But what else are we seeing? I suppose the number of lenders, a few years ago, we were seeing a lot, well, probably a few months ago, we were seeing a lot more bridging lenders coming to the market. I think that's slowed down a little bit. I would say we're not seeing as many new lenders come in. At one point, we were seeing a new lender every month come into the market and saying, come and do business with us. But then they were offering, it was usually from the same funding line as well. So They were getting their money from the same people as people who were already in the market getting money from. And they're saying, we could do it quicker, we could do it better. But I find there's certain bridging lenders in the market who have performed really well through this period of instability, and they're the ones that we advise our customers to use. So I think the stability of not having so many new entrants has come into the market. I think that's something that's important. I think the bridging market's found its feet a little bit in the core providers and who are the better ones and who aren't such a good ones. So I think that's something to have a think about going forward, who you choose. I think that's about it for the moment.
Okay, wonderful. And before we get into a couple of FAQs, I've had a look for the budget. To be fair, the Chancellor got all the and I do this with my bunny ears for the podcast listeners, all the negative news out of the way months ago, to be fair. Nothing that surprises me, bit tax going up, NI going up. I mean, I know people are grumbling, but it is what it is. But if you're smart enough property-wise, then you'll be able to offset that or offset things somehow if you use the right people. Point being, I completely forgot the point I was going to make, which, back in my head. So the point was, from a financial point of view or from a property point of view, I personally didn't see anything in there that concerned me at all. It was quite mundane, to be honest. Did you pick up anything your end that you think people need to know about?
No, so to be honest, no. We get a lot of economic commentary. We're friends with a lot of accountants, so we get their commentary through, and it tells us what we should be looking out for and things that's highlighted from a tax perspective, or things that are going to make people better off or worse off. And there was nothing to be really alarmed about. I think the government at the moment, they are very much concentrating on the COVID problem, and they're going to have to pay for it in the long run because they've put so much stimulus back into the market. You think about the what's it called? I can't even remember the word. The employment where what was it? Furlough scheme. That's what. Yeah. So much money into the furlough scheme, and we've seen the CBIL scheme and the RLS scheme that has replaced it. And the CBIL scheme has come to an end, and it is almost done a full cycle now where people are having to refinance their CBILS loans, and they need to find the right mortgage to go onto. And I think as these start to come to maturity, the CBILS part of the loan, it's important that they get the right advice at that time. It really is, because if they don't, their costs are going to go up massively. Because if you think with the CBILS loan, there was no fees, it was interest free for 12 months, so that's quite a big jump. It's going to impact trading business more, but that does obviously have a knock-on effect into the property world, because trading businesses often trade from a premises, and if those trading businesses go under, commercial property suffers. But then there's going to be opportunities for other people to buy. So, it swings and roundabouts all the time.
Yeah, it's exactly what we say in terms of opportunity. That's sort of spoiler alert for people that listen to the summary I do at the end of the year and at the start of next year. It's just everything screams opportunity to me at the moment for various reasons. But listen out for those episodes, basically. That's a very good summary of where we stand at the moment. So, as mentioned at the start, you're contributing to the Property FAQs book as well. And I imagine you get a plethora of questions that from customers, customers at different stages of their property. I say journey, I hate using that word, but it's the only word I can think of at the moment, of people's property journeys. So, we'll tackle a couple of FAQs. I mean, I've got a list of questions here that I would think that I would ask a broker, but rather than me dictate to you, please do give a couple of common questions that you get, and then your answers, if that's okay.
Okay. I suppose the first one is, I've just written an article for the NACFB, which is the National Association of Commercial Finance Brokers. They're the trade body that looks after brokers and represents us. I wrote an article about, in essence, why somebody should use a broker. Is it worth using a broker? And do we justify the fees that we charge? And it's a question I get probably from the lesser experienced investors. Mm-hmm. The more experienced investors don't have, they fully welcome the use of a broker and paying fees because they're getting value for money. I've given a couple of examples previously about customers we've saved a hell of a lot of money for, and without us, they wouldn't have done that, and our fees were a mere drop in the ocean. But that's one of the main question I get asked is, why should we use a broker? And I always describe a broker as the hub in the middle of the wheel, and we have lots of spokes that come off us. We're talking to a new customer for us who's doing commercial conversion, and they are professional people. They are new into property, but they're intelligent people. They know what they're doing. But without us and our direction, I don't think would be as far along in their project. I think introducing them to solicitors, to the accountants, to the wealth manager, and getting them in the right mindset of, like we were saying before, where they want to be, not just with this transaction, but in the long term. So there's no point, there is a point, but is more of a point coming to us and wanting a long-term relationship, because we can, if you think about that wheel, we can help make that wheel turn forward. And if we're in touch with the solicitors, the accountants, the wealth manager, whoever it may be, we can help them turn their wheel forward into any way it needs to go. And even though we are property brokers, we do have an understanding of the finance world, and that's because we network. That's because we have our ear to the ground, and we do our own research, and we work out, is it worth investing in property? Is it not worth investing in property? Whatever. Is it worth investing in something else? Is cryptocurrency is the thing that everybody talks about now. Is that a good thing to invest in, or is it not? Customers ask me these questions. They say, well, we're going to get a 6% yield on our commercial asset. We are going to get maybe a 5 to 10% growth in our investment, maybe something like that. That totals 11 to 16%. Cryptocurrency, it just went up 40% last week. Should I be invested in that? And it's then going back to that question, right? Your will, where do you want that to go? Are you looking for a profit next week, or are you looking for a long-term sustainable profit? And what are you going to do with those profits? Are you going to create a limited company that you can stick a pension on, that you can invest tax-free into that pension, and then use that to build up your pot and invest that pension in whatever it else may be? And then we bring a wealth manager in to talk about that for them. And so it's not just getting a property, buying it and renting it out. It is that bigger picture. It's creating something for them that is what they want in the future. So most people, and I may be wrong, they want to be secure, and they want to live a better life than they're living today. That's usually the aim. Some people want to be ultra wealthy, and property will get you there if you do make the right investments and you're sensible. But you need to think long term. You are not going to be ultra wealthy tomorrow by investing in property, because the returns you get, as I've just said, commercial, which is the hot topic at the moment, everybody wants to invest in commercial. You're probably, if you're just investing in a commercial property, you may get, say, 16% in a year, just as an estimate. If you're doing a commercial conversion, what's your profit usually on that? 20%, something like that. Then you're going to get your 6% yield. Then you're going to get your 10% capital growth, something like that, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So in 2 years, that may add up to, say, 30%, something along those lines. So there is a profit in there, but that profit is probably going to be in a limited company, and you drawing that money out of that limited company causes a tax implication. So you need to think about the bigger picture, and that's where we bring in other professionals to help our customers, and hopefully that gives them a rounded view and gets that wheel, their vehicle, to move to where they want it to get to in the long term. So it's really important that customers, when they come to us, we ask them, what do you want to do? Where do you want to get to? Because you're not just doing this one property probably to get your, I don't know, whatever the spread is on a buy-to-let, rental income £700, mortgage £400, so that's £300 a month minus tax, whatever, and voids and all that sort of stuff. So you earn yourself £100 a month. That's not why people are doing it, I presume. They want wealth, and wealth needs to be a holistic approach, not just, in my opinion, a property transaction. And that's where I think we're different to other brokers.
Start with the end in mind. I think we've said this already in this episode. I couldn't agree more that it's that approach is key. And as you've said, that's where a very good broker is going to be able to sit down with their customer, their clients, and be able to help advise on that, or if necessary, as you say, you've got those various spokes coming out of every direction. You'll be able to place people or put people in the right direction. So again, sound advice in terms of, I was smiling when you said crypto. I think there's a book up just underneath there, the Bitcoin Standard, which if people are interested in crypto or Bitcoin, go and read that book. I'd recommend that. I enjoy reading that book. My knowledge is
can I suggest a book as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a book, How to Own the World.
Okay.
That's very good. I haven't actually got a copy on my. I know it's good. I'm looking for a copy. I've been listening to it on Audible, so I won't find a copy there. But it's really good, and it talks about these things, about investments and thinking about your long-term plan and where you want to get to. And I've just started another one called The Naked Trader. I think it's edition 5.
Mhm.
So that's also, I've only just started that, but I'm constantly trying to educate myself and try to get an edge on other brokers, because it's competitive out there. You can what I see a lot is people go on Facebook and say, can anybody recommend a mortgage broker?
Yep.
And there's about 50 mortgage brokers that either recommend themselves or somebody else who they know says, yeah, they're really good. I try not to respond on the actual feed. What I do, and I may be right or wrong, it's just what I think, is I send them a direct message saying, let's have a chat and let's see if we're the right fit for you. And invariably, people take that up and we talk to them about the long-term plan. And hopefully no other brokers are listening to this to get all my tactics, but it's the long-term plan that's really important to investment in any field.
Yeah, and those unique selling points, being true to your words. I mean, I'm looking at our sort of values list on our big whiteboard over there. Authenticity, integrity, congruency. They are the core values for what we do. Just be yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's also you just mentioned about being yourself. I also invest in property myself, and at the moment I've stripped a house back to brick and it's being developed, and it works really, really well, because I can see the problems that are going on for customers, because they go on for me as well. It's just about getting the right solution. Luckily my wife's very hands-on, and she unbelievable at managing the project, but I can see everything that's happening as well, and so it gives me an insight into what's happening, and I can add real experience, life experience to my customers when they're asking the questions. They can see I know what I'm talking about, because I'm actually doing it myself as well.
Oh yeah, always crucial from a professional point of view. Totally agree with that. I would say, rather than just sort of sit here and rabbit on, I think that's a very thorough question. So again, gone through a question you get asked a lot, and again, that's going to be in writing. That's going to be part of the book as well. That'll come out in 2022. So watch this space. Mark, I would say Andrew Craig, by the way, is the author of that How to Own the World. People are wondering who authors that. So Andrew Craig, How to Own the World. We should probably do a book recommendation every month, I'm thinking. So we'll leave that as a recommendation for that, because self-improvement, personal development is incredibly important. But Mark, thank you for that. As I said at the start of the episode to you listener, watch this space. We're going to be doing this every month, a sort of deep dive into what's going on economically, answering FAQs and having a general chit chat about what's going on in the world of property. So Mark, thank you for your time. Looking forward to December's episode and adding even more value. I would say that the Wharf Financial newsletter, I get it every Friday. It's fantastic, really, really good stuff in there. But if people want to get hold of you, contact you, how can they do that?
Yes. There's a lot of ways. They can either call me, and the phone numbers on the website. Our website is www.wharffinancial.co.uk. It's a brand new website that we've launched. It's got some new blogs on there, press releases, case studies of what we've done. So if they want to go on there, they can do that. We also host some events. We host a monthly property networking event, and it's not your normal networking event for like the ones for I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the names, but Progressive and Pin and Pen and all that sort of thing. It's not that type of networking event. It's a property networking event for professionals. So we host that in the city, and we're really lucky because the guy who owns the bar is actually a property investor himself. So he really likes us coming down. And it's not, we don't see many property investors there, but what we do see is solicitors, accountants, wealth managers, we see brokers. So I don't have any problem with other brokers coming along. I welcome them along. We see a lot of the lenders. So I would say if people want to come to that, then get in touch with me, because if you just want to meet people who work in the sector, you can do. They're going to be there. So that's the last Thursday of every month in the centre of London, free of charge. We just have a part of a really nice bar, and that's usually like I said, the fourth Thursday of every month. We also host a golf event, which again is for property professionals. That's monthly, and we are starting an economic breakfast with a London-based solicitor, where we're going to have an economist or an investment manager, I'm not sure which one it'll be yet, who's going to speak on a monthly basis, and more than welcome for people to come down and listen. But it's all designed to add value. So people can go on the website, get my contact details, send me an email, call me. I don't mind people calling me at all. We're also all over social media. You'll see our weekly newsletter on there. You'll see when the index reports are published, we put them on there, budgets on there, anything we were thinking of that we think is a benefit to our customers. We're going to be at some of the property exhibitions as well soon. There's a really, really good one that I like called J-Trade. It's probably one that the listeners haven't heard of, because they would have probably heard of the Finance Professional Show. They would have heard of Property Investor Show at Excel. But J-Trade is a Jewish property exhibition at Excel. You don't need to be Jewish to go. I'm not Jewish, but a lot of my customers are from the Jewish community, and it's going to be around 6,000 people. It's actually Monday the 8th and Tuesday the 9th of November. So I would really recommend going down there for that really good property exhibition in Excel.
Fantastic stuff. And of course, it's not that we date stamp it, it does come out on the 8th of November. So if you've got a spare day today or tomorrow, pop down and crack on and get networking. Mark, thank you very, very much. As usual, we will put all the links and so forth in the show notes, and just repeat myself saying the same thing every single month, every time, of course, Mark is on, every time we run Mark. The same links and whatnot will be in the show notes, and they'll be under the YouTube video as well. Wonderful stuff. Really appreciate that. And again, as we said, we value the feedback on this. Wharf Financial, Property Nomads Podcast, going to crack this out for a year, see what happens. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. The point is to add as much value to yourself as humanly possible. So Mark, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, and catch you next month.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.